have some important findings I'd like to share. Today is the last day of a 30-day experiment I was doing on myself. I was doing an experiment because I got a way early vacate notice. Anyone can do anything for 30 days, and the plan was for 30 days to just wake up and do what I feel called to do just that day and not go overly crazy with searching for housing, searching for a car, or do anything from a place of scarcity. Because in my meditations, there was only one thing Shiva would say, which is focus on the research in front of you, forget everything else. And then if I ask, yo, I gotta live somewhere, right? Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, he would always say, let me handle it. And even to the point where, like, one day, the way it works for me, spiritually speaking, is like in my meditations, like, I have me and that are like this, so I can really hear, like, all the answers. But if it's really difficult for me, then that's where Jesus's influence comes in, because we're not above the program as spiritual beings, meaning the program of being human, and we fall short sometimes in listening. So I remember one day in particular, I was like losing my mind on my way to martial arts class, like sobbing, like, what is gonna happen, bro? Like, where am I gonna go? And like, it's hard to focus on this like research stuff. And I've brought up before, if J-Dog has something to say, he'll bring up a verse in front of me. So this one was that day. The one that popped up was Matthew 6:33, which is like, seek first the kingdom of righteousness and the rewards of heaven will be given to you. So I'm like looking it up, and the AI overview is like, Jesus is saying not to worry about housing. If you let God lead your life, housing will be provided. And I was like, this is so specific, bro. So I was like, yeah, okay. If I really want to do the work I'm called to do and to have that impact, it's not going to happen in the way that I thought, which was difficult for me. And I've spent many days crying about this because I built Shivoham labs, like labs, science, intelligence, cosmology, consciousness, and that's all happening. But the more you go deep into it, the more it takes you there. I was just thinking, like, why is it that spiritual thinkers, philosophers try to smash themselves into this rigidity? Because if this is the expansive awareness, because I always say, like, don't dumb down the cosmos to meet your filter, expand, or like even get rid of your filters to understand that thing. So wouldn't that equate to this group of people naturally becoming more spiritual, naturally expanding their awareness? Is like, God-centered will be the byproduct. And the thing is, the divine already put me here. And my suffering was because of my stubbornness to feel like, no, it has to go this way. And I remember, like, after I wrote that, Shiva basically said, that's it, you're done. You don't need to do anything else anymore. After this, you've like figured it out. Which, like, the cosmology consciousness framework is really like understanding how reality works. So like, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, if you know how reality works, why do you have to do anything the way you used to do? Because you have like the source code, right? I do believe a new wave of science is going to come in, but before we can have that, you know how there's that phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder? So we need the beholders, meaning people on planet Earth, to understand how to hold beauty. When we create math and we create physics and computer science and all of that, we're pulling from beauty. The divine seduces us. I have a TikTok on that. And us learning the architecture behind what's attracting us is how we've gotten these laws. But we often mistake these laws for the entire thing. And one thing I'm never going to tolerate is people trying to take away the beauty of the divine. Like, why are you trying to overly define it, materialize it, enslave it? This thing is beyond you. Who do you think you are? I play sitar and I've picked up vocals, and vocals have felt like chambers opening in the mind. And so we've been hitting higher and lower notes, and it feels like I've taken an edible and I can see doors in my consciousness opening. And it's such a profound experience. Like, I have to imagine that math and science and biology and physics and computer science, even all the stuff in there is happening when I'm singing and I'm playing music. I think about the cosmic infinite intelligence. Like the whole time I was talking about Shiva, and for a long time I was saying the cosmic heart, cosmic love. That whole time I didn't realize it, but I was talking about Jesus. And since I've made this promise to help fix and give back to him, to heal the cosmic heart is what I would say. This is the way to do it, through sensuality, embodiment, love, passion, art, music. I feel this awe and wonder, but I always thought that like the solution would be in this domain. But the people from this domain don't always treat you well. They're condescending, they don't take you seriously. And I was maybe just hoping that there would be a moment I would just feel like, see, I am smart. Like, screw you guys for talking to me that way. And as corny as it sounds, that already thinks of me as really smart. And like, I would ignore that because that's the same thing as your mom telling you that you're beautiful in Homecoming. I've never gone, but I've seen this on TV. Like, oh, sweetie, you look great. It's like, you're supposed to say that. You're my mom. But it's true. All I wanted to do was promote vitality, peace, harmony, and have everyone fall in love and have like awe and wonder of the cosmos. And I'm just kind of sitting here realizing like the way I thought it was going to happen for a year and a half is not it. Maybe one day it's going to come back, like I was saying before, that new science and the way it operates, it comes in. But right now I have to focus on love. And yeah, that's cool. Interstellar was right. I always knew that, but now I know that. If I go down a path of like romance, love, and sensuality with how I present like this science, this consciousness, God, then people won't take me seriously. They won't think I'm smart. And I have to let that go. It's not helping me, it's hurting me. And I heard a quote somewhere about, you know you're on your path when you can't see it, because I can't see anything. Now that you've reached this conclusion, it's this total other thing. And I guess I'm glad because, you know, I got an answer. 30 days are up. And I've reached this conclusion because the point was to get the clarity of what it's going to be. It doesn't mean like the solution is handed to you, but I guess that's what Shiva meant when he said, stop trying to figure all this other stuff out. Focus on the research first. I see what he's trying to say now, because by focusing and following the research, you'll realize that other stuff dissolves that you're worried about, and the way it's going to come about is going to be from what the research points to. I thought that the future would be more metaphorical processing and a synthesis and integration of ideas. It wouldn't just be one modality. So science is not a bad thing. It's really, really awesome. It really is meant for like technology and engineering. And it can be one of the modes I utilize. Of course, like if you're going towards unity consciousness, then it makes sense that you would participate in that goal by virtue of the things you select to study. You would unify those disciplines as well. You wouldn't see it as separate. This is more of a vulnerable share, but I think it's meant for people who may have these deeper questions, that feel scared or feel that tension between the condescending nature, the hyper rigidity of one place, the hyper fluidity of another. If you just keep listening, if you just keep first seeking the kingdom, like the riches will be given to you. And sometimes the riches just look like a deep realization, and just to know that wherever you end up, God will never let you fail. And God loves us all and is happy to see all of us returning to him in our own ways.